Hi, my name is Robert Voisey. I am the director of 15 Minutes of Fame. 15 Minutes of Fame is 15 one-minute works that are written for a specific musician or instrument. For this 15 Minutes of Fame, we are going to be featuring Monica Chu. She is an Oakland composer and pianist who celebrates presenting rarely performed music and new works from all around the world. She is a gifted player with an affinity for a deeply sensitive expression. That's by whole note. She has composed since 2017 and couldn't be happier about it. Her work has been featured as a part of the Gabriela Lena Frank's Creative Academy for Music, Verdant Vibes, Hot Air Music Festival, and Left Coast Chamber Ensemble's Intersection program. Her writing has been reviewed as monumental and stunning by the San Francisco Classical Voice prior to 2015. She worked nearly a decade as a principal software engineer on security and privacy at Mozilla and Google. She lives in Oakland with her husband and an 1899 Steinway B and a clavichord, which we'll be listening to in depthly for this 15 Minutes of Fame, and a disused violin. We have 15 composers get together. Well, we much more. This is actually our second set. So Monica has picked 30 pieces, 15 in each set, out of a call for scores that we put out for composers to write. Today we have several composers that we'll be bringing on. Let me first bring on, you know what, let me play a video from Carlotta Ferrata.
Hello everybody, this is Carlotta Ferrari from Italy. First of all, thank you for choosing me for this clavichord project. I feel humbled. I would like to introduce my short clavichord piece. It is a brilliant toccata in a Renaissance style, based on three modes, A, D and C, but with a, of course, contemporary flavor and grammar. I will keep it short because the piece itself lasts 1 minute, so I need not last more. Bye everybody, and thanks again.
Hello, I'm Anna Vriend. I'm a composer based in the UK. I have written music for a variety of instruments: woodwind, reeds, brass, strings, keyboards and voices, and several of my pieces have been performed on 15 Minutes of Fame. I'm studying composition with Alex Kampke. I'm very glad that my piece was chosen for this set of 15 Minutes of Fame. You're going to listen to my piece played by Monica Chu. It's called Brano. The title just means short piece in Italian. When the call for scores came out, I visited Monica's website and I listened to some fragments of her playing. I had actually never heard a clavichord being played, although I knew about the instrument. I have always been interested in early music, and with that in early instruments, be it keyboards, recorders, flutes, other woodwinds, strings or other instruments. These instruments reflect times past and belong to a different sound world. The challenge for me as a composer living now is to use the sound that these instruments make to make new music. In my piece, I'm using the typical vibrato that is possible on the clavichord. It's called bebum, and I'm using it as a contemporary tool to accentuate particular phrases together with different articulations. Thank you so much, Monica, for playing my piece. And thank you, Robert, for organizing these calls. I hope you enjoy the piece. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me bring on David Bone. Hello, David. How are you?
Uh, it's sunny out, and I'm on this side of the grass. Except that we got snow now, so.
So, it's harder to see the grass.
Mm-hmm.
David, why don't we start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your piece?
Well, I'm a composer living in Wisconsin. Um, did degrees at several universities and such. I'm president of the Wisconsin Alliance for Composers and actively involved in a number of other organizations of a musical nature. As far as my piece, there's not much to say. Um, I do actually own a clavichord, and several years ago did a project involving new music for clavichord. So I kind of knew the ins and the outs of the instrument and felt fairly comfortable writing for it.
That's fabulous. And when you saw this call, like, did you have any like particular ideas for writing it that have been like brewing, or was it inspiration to write something new?
It was a chance to write something different than what I had written in the past for clavichord, which was a very slow, spare piece. This one, while not exactly running all over the place, has a lot more action to it, and
Excellent.
probably evokes a bit more of the 17th century spirit than my past writing for the clavichord has done.
Cool. Wow. Let's hear a little taste. David's piece will actually be the first of this next set that's coming up, and what we'll do is we'll play a set of 8 pieces. Monica will be playing a set of 8 pieces, and then we'll take a break. She can rest her fingers and her clavichord, and we'll talk to a few more composers, and then we'll bring Monica back. And with that said, hi, Monica.
Hello, Rob.
Hi, thank you for joining us.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm going to take off my headphones. Please give a yell if you can't hear the clavichord, and I'll hopefully be able to hear it still.
You got it. I think we'll be good, though.
Okay.
Fabulous. What a wonderful performance. Let me bring on Nancy Bachman. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Nancy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and this piece that's coming up? Oh,
Am I back?
yes, you're back. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I have I have issues on this end too. My degrees are in piano performance, and I worked as a freelance musician and later as a college professor, and came to composing later in life. And by the way, I'm thrilled to recently have released my first album, Wild Swans. I write mostly chamber music, art songs, and micro operas, and I often take my inspiration from the natural world. This 60-second piece it's a fantastic concept, Rob. I congratulate you. I'm very, very happy to participate. And Monica Chu is a fabulous, fabulous virtuoso pianist. And the fact that she loves the small, soft tones of the clavichord, it's a testament to the wide spectrum of her musical expression. And I'm thrilled to write for her. It's just very exciting to be involved here. This piece is called Papillon, which is butterfly, and well, 60 seconds. We measure our lives in years and seasons, but we live moment to moment. So I thought of this tiny creature as symbol of such big concepts as rebirth and resurrection and transformation, just living its life for a moment.
That's beautiful. Yes, Nancy, I agree with you wholeheartedly about Monica's performance. She's a fabulous, fabulous musician, and and a great composer as well. It's just we are lucky to have her. And our next piece on this next set coming up will be with Nick. Where's Nick? Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hi, Rob. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself and this piece that's going to be coming up.
Yeah, my degree is in composition from Ithaca College, and now I'm living in Pittsburgh, teaching young children in school and in kinder music classes. I'm really loving doing that. It only further inspires my music creation, and really not much to say materially about the piece. I had started by using the back half of a fandango rhythm. Of course, I couldn't sit here and clap back to you the fandango rhythm if asked. That wasn't really the important part. The commission here by Monica, or the call rather, the call for scores by Monica, really prompted me to think in a stream of consciousness way what I could do in just 1 minute. And after I wrote that first one for Monica, I just wanted to keep doing it. And so this piece that was formerly called Dango is now the third in a series that I'm calling Doom Scrolls, which little tiny pieces about this long, 1 minute or less, meant to sort of interrupt our doom scroll on our phone and our social media with the hopes that whoever comes across it might have a moment of connection with me and my music. And I'm so happy that Monica has had that connection, happy that you have as well. That's really what I'm driving at here now. So I'm so excited to hear it. Thank you, Rob, and thank you, Monica.
That's wonderful. I really love this idea of sort of just having that short minute to connect with people everywhere. I mean, that's in a lot of ways that is what this project is about. Just kind of bringing everybody together, connecting composers with musicians, and musicians with the rest of the world. Just kind of little pieces of what we do and how we do it.
Absolutely. The connection is what it's all about, and also just not trying to edit myself too much. What can I do with 1 minute or less? It feels like a wonderful thing to just have one thing and let it go. Really.
There's a lot of freedom in that, right? It's not like a big, huge piece where you feel very invested once you've spent a bit of time doing, right? And then
Yeah.
it becomes this big monolith to compose for.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pieces I've spent over a year writing, and there's pieces I've spent about 20 minutes writing. And Carolyn Shaw came to my school, she said, "Not everything is your magnum opus." I think that all the time.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's listen to Michael Kosh.
Hi, I'm composer Michael Kosh, and my piece is called A Semblance of Memling, and it is based on a painting by the 15th century Netherlands painter Hans Memling. It's called Virgin and Child with Four Angel Minstrels. And as you can see, it's Mary and Jesus in the midst of four angels, one playing the portative organ, one a mandolin or a lute, one a viol, and one a harp. And they're sitting in a beautiful garden with a characteristically late medieval landscape in back of them. I tried to give the music a lullaby-like feel, as well as a little bit of tension, because you'll notice Mary's expression is rather somber, and it portends turbulent times ahead. But I hope you enjoy it, and I'd like to thank Monica Chu for selecting my piece, and Rob Voicey for founding and administering the 15 Minutes of Fame project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. And let me bring on one last composer here. Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your piece coming up and a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and then moved to California, to Los Angeles, where I studied at Cal Arts and got a master's degree, and then moved to Missouri, where I went to Washington University in St. Louis, and then spent 34 years teaching at Southeast Missouri State University. And I'm recently retired. So there's a good thing. My piece is called Silver Moon, and it's based on a turn of the 20th century pop song called By the Light of the Silvery Moon. And my idea was that for years I've wanted to write some pieces that are based on pop music from my own childhood. But I've always sort of refrained from that because there's all kinds of copyright issues that might be involved. And recently it dawned on me that I knew a bunch of songs in my childhood that were out of copyright because they were the favorite songs of my grandmother. And By the Light of the Silvery Moon happens to be one of those. I hope to write some other songs, some other pieces based on those kinds of songs in the future. I'm thrilled to have found out about Monica because I'm a big fan of the clavichord, and it's great to hear about a clavichord virtuoso. You don't hear about those kinds of people very often. When I was in high school, I sort of fell in love with the instrument and bought a Zuckerman kit. So I also own a clavichord, rather. I think it said harpsichord a second ago. I did actually build a harpsichord later as well. Too many musical instruments in my life. But anyway, fell in love with the clavichord. I skipped lunch for an entire year, saved up my money in order to afford the kit. So that's a little bit of suffering for my art.
And so, what made you fall in love with the clavichord?
Well, I saw an ad for Zuckerman kits in the back of some magazine, and it mentioned clavichord. I didn't know what it was. So I looked it up, and it explained how the instrument worked, and I thought, that is going to be really cool. And in fact, it was really cool.
Wow, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, after our set, we'll have to talk a little more about that. I think that's fascinating. We've got lots of stories, and so that's going to be our first four people that are our next set that Monica is going to be playing, and then we have some videos from the composers from the last three that will play once the set is finished. With that said, let's bring on Monica back onto the stage. Hi, Monica.
Hi.
We are ready when you
All
are.
right.
Hello everyone, my name is Nautenena Murasat and I'm from Tananarivo, Madagascar. This piece expresses some notes to bring peace and energy, quiet energy in the world. And I thank very much Robert and Monica Chu for your consideration to my proposal. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Ross James Carey, composer of Summer Dreaming for clavichord solo, which I composed for Monica Chu, and this 15 minutes of fame call for scores for solo clavichord. The piece was composed in the summer of 2023, along with a number of other short works, at my university in the small town of Xinjiang in Henan, in the People's Republic of China. A dreamy atmosphere is conjured up through a languid melody accompanied by a meandering bass line, ending at the still point of a pentatonic chord. I hope you enjoy the piece, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing Monica perform it, along with the other pieces by other composers. Congratulations to you all. Thank you.
My name is John Brooks, and I'm from Alameda, California, and I was born in Alameda, and I'm 84 years old and still live in Alameda. I think maybe I was 5 years old or so when I first came across a piano. It was my grandmother's Mason and Hamlin upright, which was a very pretty piano and a beautiful tone. And that's what got me interested in pianos, and I've been playing them ever since. Johnny's clavichord tune came about when I imagined that I was sitting at a small clavichord, playing away and trying to think of what type of sounds would be good on it, and I came up with Johnny's clavichord tune.
Awesome. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Rob.
Great job.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to bring everybody on board. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Great job, everybody. I loved your pieces. So, yeah, this is a great set, Monica. I loved it a lot. Thank you so much. I've said this more than once, but I love the fact that you've done 2 sets. Both you and actually David Bone is another die-hard musician who's played several sets out of his calls.
Well, it was impossible to only do one, I found, and I really, I said this last time, and it's true again. It's really wonderful to be able to connect with people all over the world who respond in such different ways to this little tiny assignment, and
Right.
That's really great.
Fabulous. And so, always the trials and tribulations of performing and putting these productions together. Why don't you tell us, Monica, some of your production?
Yes, I was
Mishaps.
mentioning this to Rob before the show, but it's been very rainy this week where I live in Oakland, California, and clavichords are famously sensitive to changes in weather, especially humidity and temperature, even more than pianos because they don't have a gigantic metal soundboard. They just are little wooden boxes with some metal string. So in the course of dealing with the tuning of the instrument this week, I had a broken string overnight on Thursday night. So I wasn't even touching the instrument. It just snapped. And on Friday morning, I emailed my clavichord builder who lives in Germany. So of course it was already evening his time. And I wasn't really sure if he would respond in time with advice But he did, and he responded with this very long and detailed email that was full of warnings, basically like, "Oh, well, make sure you don't rush and don't do this and that, and by the way, if you do manage to get a new string on, it'll have to be tuned every hour until the concert." I was like, "Oh my god, I need some help." So the great thing about there's many terrible things about social media, but the great thing about social media is that you do meet people who are interested in the same niche, weird things that you are. And so a couple weeks ago, I met this new friend who posted on the SFB area pianist network saying that he was a clavichordist and he was interested in teaching early music. And I responded and said, like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I also play clavichord. Um, what a coincidence. There aren't that many of us." And so we chatted a little bit, and the only thing I knew about him is that he had a lot of instruments, which is, first of all, a great sign that the person is really obsessed with early music instruments. Um, and then yesterday, after my clavichord builder sent me this long email, I chatted to my new friend and said, "Hey, do you have any advice?" And he just very kindly offered to come over to my house in the afternoon to help me change the string. I was like, "Great!" Like one less thing to worry about. And I didn't, he had a Facebook profile picture, and of course he looked young. But then he showed up with his dad, and I thought, maybe he's younger than I realized, because I'm 46, and so everyone just looks like a baby to me who's under 20 by this point. So he shows up. He's like very focused, extremely invested in helping me fix the string, and he does an amazing job. The string had broken off at the tuning pin, so the pin had to be removed and all this stuff. So like during the course of our conversation, I asked, like, "How did you get into early music instruments?" And he said, I just somehow got interested into him when I was really young. And I said, like, "Aren't you really young right now?" He said, "Yeah, I'm 15. So I was like, wow, this was mind blowing to have this early music instrument wunderkind like show up with his dad, because because I needed help, and it was like, it was such a surreal experience, and it made me just like really grateful to be living in a community with such an amazing, diverse population of people who are so incredible at various types of things
Right.
at all ages.
It,
So,
it it is really beautiful, and like it's like thanks to the internet and so forth, this sort of like connectivity. But it's so funny because it reminds me of Robert's story too, of like putting together a
yeah.
kit. And how old were you again, Robert, when you did that?
Well, I was a freshman in high school, so I would have probably been 14 or 15 when I did that. I had no idea what I was getting into. I was not like your friend. I was not that knowledgeable. But I did what I
Wow.
could. I made it up as I went along.
Well, this kid, I was so impressed with him and his dad for shuttling him all over the Bay Area to all of his early music buddies. Like he hangs out with Gary Blez, who's a local clavichord maker. Like he's been basically apprenticing for this guy for years.
Oh wow.
I mean, and it's just astonishing. So props to Robert and my new friend, and also David Bone for having a clavichord, and Jim Dalton. And, it's just been really great to meet a bunch of different people who are interested in this instrument. And instruments need repertoire
Yeah.
to be relevant. So thank you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a pleasure. Like I said, I've also, I've had the opportunity of playing on a clavichord and so forth, and when you first were like, "Oh, we could do this too." I was really, really, really excited because it is a rare instrument, anyway. But the clavichord that I played on has a really, really sad story of like you said, they're very sensitive, and they fall in disrepair quickly. You know, but it's great. It's great. It's just it's a beautiful instrument, and you play it so well, Monica. It's really it's a joy.
Thank
It really
you.
is. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Monica? And I say that out to our I was about to say our studio audience, the World Wide Web. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
I would just like to congratulate all the composers and Monica particularly for showing the different facets of the clavichord. I remember when I was in college, I fell in love with the instrument. They had one, and you had to kind of sneak in to practice it. And so I just played Scarlatti sonatas on it. I didn't know what else to do with it, but it was totally entrancing. But that was the last time I touched one of those instruments. And it's always been associated with the Baroque sound. And there were so many different options and so many wonderful different colors and expressions that I heard this time and 2 weeks ago on your other performance. I just really appreciate seeing the broader spectrum of the possibilities of these early instruments. So thank you, Rob, and thank you, Monica. This is just a fabulous expose of what the clavichord can do.
You're very welcome. I loved all the music on this set, and I really, really loved all the different approaches. Like your piece, Nancy, was very, toccata-like and improvisatory, and then I loved the divinely simple pieces that Robert and sorry, I missed how he said his name. Nantiana, his offering. Andre Murasada, the person who wrote.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes. So
I missed the pronunciation too, but
okay.
Yeah, beautiful piece. I really enjoy you. Yeah. You really hear. You brought out the difference of that piece. It's just. What's the way I'm looking for? It just. I thought that was a very fresh sounding piece.
Me too. I really loved that one, and I loved, I heard Persichetti, I heard Bach, like we heard in the last set, we heard a lot of Bach, right? Oh yes, Nick's piece, definitely.
I'm obsessed with Persichetti. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you make the instrument sound so elastic. Really.
Oh, thank you.
Really do.
When you hear about the volume limitations of the clavichord, I was sitting there like, what am I going to write a forte for? Like, what am I doing here? But you really make it sing. You really make it sound elastic, dynamically.
Thank you.
Yeah, Monica, I feel like that's a particular sort of strength of yours. It's really hard with so many different styles and aesthetics, and then to kind of just bring them all to like switch it up from minute to minute to minute. That's hard, but also just to bring them all together as a set. You did great.
Thank you. It's always fun to put the sets in order. And this time I chose to end it on a sort of return to simplicity. But last time we had that very fun piece from Servan, which was like a total barn burner. But I like this approach too. I mean, it's you don't always want to hear a lot of notes, So it's and I definitely don't always want to play a lot of notes. So.
Well, so there's a thing too, like when you're constructing the sets, right? So you're a composer. So are you thinking compositionally, or are you thinking musically, or both?
Only musically. I mean, I felt like a very strong connection between Silver Moon and Notes for a Peaceful World. Oh, no, sorry. Is that right? Yes. That's right. Yeah. And so like sometimes the connection is just like really strong, and I feel like the piece must go together with the other piece. And the same thing with the Summer Dreaming and John Brooks's piece. So and then sometimes, you just decide, well, I've heard enough of this sound for a while. I want to put something radically different.
Sure.
Between. So it just sort of depends. And also, I do consider like athletic events as well. So try to separate those out a little bit. It doesn't always work out, but it's just like when people do, I don't know, gymnastics or something and they need 10 minutes between pole vaults.
Sure. Absolutely.
I was saying that to some of my students today. I have some students who play basketball and some students who run track. I say, this is closer to your sports than you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is, and we don't have coaches either. So
No. No, you
so
don't.
you're on your own, like as far as like maintaining health and bringing that stuff out.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard knocks as far as that goes. I do. Yeah. As a singer, I know. Yeah. It's good to have a coach. It is good to have a coach. Absolutely. Fabulous. Does anybody else have any comments or questions or?
I have a dull technical question. How do you mic your clavichord?
Oh, I have so you can see this one back here.
Uh-huh.
This is a SM81, Shure SM81. I have two of those. There's one over here. And then I have a voice mic, which is also picks up the room sound that's directly behind the laptop.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I've always had a heck of a time miking it so it sounds good. And I think your sound today was terrific.
Thank you.
You
I wish I had more
On
microphones.
both sets, it was terrific.
Yeah, don't we?
Thanks.
Yeah, are those condensers the 80? Did you say 87s?
Yeah,
81?
they're small diaphragm condensers, and the other one
Yeah.
is I forget.
I gotta get a couple of those. They sound stupendous.
Yeah,
If they
they
can
do.
pick up all those subtleties, they're incredible.
Thanks. I'm glad that came through. There's a lot of wood sound today because of the rain. My new friend was like a little bit Oh, the other thing he did beside replace of string was so these keys on the clavichord are mounted on pins. So you press the key down, the key rotates around the pin and hits the string with a metal tangent. And so when it rains, those pinholes get smaller because the wood swells. So the other thing my new friend did was adjust all the action.
Nice.
so that the return was better on these simple levers. And
wow.
that was really kind of him. But he was, when you work on something, you get really sensitized to sound. So he was hearing wood sound, and I had to tell him, like, no, it's fine. The whole thing is very creaky right now, which it is. So, I mean, that's just part of like.
It's part of the.
If we do this again, we'll have to be during a dry period.
Well, I have keyscape samples on my computer, and those include some clavichord, and they must have taken those samples on a pretty rainy day as well, because you get a lot of return sound, you get a lot of click back as well. So I think that's also part of its personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And I always like to think of it as it's like a guitar. If you don't like the slides and all the other like extraneous noises to it, you're probably need to change to a different instrument. Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this project and submitting your works. And Monica, thank you so much for just playing all these great things. And and I look forward to working with you all again.
Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you,
Rob.
all the composers. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you all.
All right.